Yesterday we spoke of the Vata, Pitta and the Kapha effects of the first house, the ascendant. Always remember, ascendant energy will carry over to the rest of the houses also. Today we address second house and the Vata, Pitta, Kapha effects on the second house. We are talking about physiology, biology, and how it affects. This is strictly for the Ayurvedic practitioners. This is strictly for those interested in regulating their diet, daily diet, as per their planetary arrangements. So each of the planets has Vata, Pitta, and Kapha kind of signatures. We already saw that in the previous videos of this playlist. Now, we come to the second house, which is face and facial features, which is perception, the way we see things, the way we eat, the quality of the food, the quality of speech, drinks, eating, eyesight, face and throat, mouth, ears, eyes, smell, taste, sensory attributes, tongue, teeth, vocal cords, thyroid and parathyroid glands, and associated hormones. Every part from here going forward, even if it is not the first house, you will see the brain areas associated with the functionality of that particular house. For example, for second house aspects, what we just saw, the brain areas responsible for all these above is Broca's area, speech, Wernicke's area, the Arcuate Fasciculus, and the primary motor cortex. So these are the areas of the brain which is responsible for the physical and biological functionality of the second house. Okay. Now, when Vata increases in the second house, that is to say, when the planets Rahu, Ketu, Saturn predominantly, and or mutually conjunct or aspected by Moon and Venus, because they also have Vata parts, what happens? Vata increases in the second house. What is Vata, first of all? It's dry, light, irregular, mobile, and subtle kind of energy. Therefore, when Vata rises in second house, it creates instability in speech, in nourishment, and security patterns. The physical expression first, we are dealing in terms of physical, mental, and emotional in each case. So, physical expression, since this house governs mouth, throat, and intake, it may lead to a dry mouth. Saturn dries things up. Dominant Vata planet is Saturn. Cracked lips, gum sensitivity, receding gums, teeth sensitivity, tension in the jaws, clicking jaw, irregular appetite, skipping meals unintentionally. Because there is bloating, there is gas problem, so they don't consume meals regularly. Bloating after eating, difficulty digesting dry foods, hoarseness in the voice, variable voice tone. Food habits become inconsistent when Vata increases. That's the physical expression. What about mental and emotional expression? Because second house also governs stored memory and conditioning, it leads to forgetfulness. Vata increases. Unstable financial planning, overthinking about security. Saturn in the second house will lead to become very insecure about money. Second house is the house of earning. Anxiety about money. There you go. Difficulty sustaining long-term savings. Speech that jumps topics. Going from one topic to another. Talking fast or erratically. Especially if Moon and Saturn are here. And Rahu also. Speech that jumps topics, talking fast or erratically. Cognition becomes unstable around security themes. For example, if the person is feeling insecure and the other person is addressing that topic, we are talking about speech, the person may get erratic in speaking. See? Emotional expression may show up as fear of financial instability, insecurity in family bonds, emotional detachment from family, sudden verbal outbursts. Emotional detachment from family especially can come if Ketu and Saturn are there. Okay? Sudden verbal outbursts, speaking impulsively and regretting it, difficulty expressing affection consistently. Therefore, security feels fragile in nature. What about the behavior pattern? Impulsive spending, saving inconsistently, eating at irregular times, emotional fasting or undereating, There's a term for that. I forget what the biological term is. The ones who consistently don't eat, right? Talking excessively when anxious. So overall pattern of Vata in the second house increase being dry mouth, irregular eating, anxious speech, unstable finances. Everything related to matters of security, you might say. So that's the Vata. What about Pitta and Kapha? Let's see. So those are the Pitta culprits, Mars and Sun. They increase the heat. They are dry heat, both of them. Act in different ways. We already saw that in previous ones. So second house, face, facial features, all the things are marked. What happens when Pitta increases here? Pitta energy is basically hot, sharp, penetrating, and intense. It's the combusting force. It's the force, calorific force in the human body which creates matter into energy. So Mars and Sun both are required, but they have to be in balance. When Pitta rises in the second house, heat affects speech, digestion, entry, and wealth psychology. First, let's see the physical expression of this. It may lead to mouth ulcers, especially if Mars and Sun are placed here, for example. Mouth ulcers more frequently. It may lead to burning sensation in the tongue, acid reflux starting in the throat, sour taste in the mouth, bleeding gums, inflamed gums, strong hunger, irritation if meals are delayed. See how it shows up everywhere. This is what makes Vedic astrology very holistic, folks. It is everything integrated with mind body. It's not just a chart for prediction, okay? There can be a resulting sharp jaw tension, voice becomes sharp or cutting, facial redness, heat shows up in the oral cavity. The second house aspects, yes? What about mental, emotional now? Mentally speaking, might lead to sharp financial intelligence, Mars in the second house, or Sun in the second house, or conjoined. Strategic wealth planning, strong memory, argumentative type of speech, critical tone of speech, especially if Sun is there. Wherever Sun is placed, here's a secret for you guys. Wherever Sun is placed in your house, you are critical about that house function. If Sun is placed in the sixth house, you are critical about your daily routines, for example. You see, Sun is also criticism. On the negative side, verbal dominance. They want to dominate the conversation, especially if Sun and Mars are there. Precision in language, intolerance towards incompetence. Both Sun and Mars have very low tolerance levels. Tolerance comes more with Saturn because it is slow and deliberate. Mind becomes analytical about resources. Emotional expression may show up as anger over money disputes, control over family finances, irritation towards family members. Second house is your family members. Mars in the second house can have constant arguments and disputes with family members. Competitive financial mindset. Competition once again is Sun also, but more so Mars. Pride in earning, Sun. Security becomes tied to performance. Yes. So the overall behavioral pattern when Pitta increases in the second house will be aggressive investing kind of mentality. Risk taking is very high in money matters. Overworking for wealth. Eating spicy hot foods. Now Mars in second house loves all kinds of pickles, all kinds of spicy food. Sun will love all kinds of bitter stuff. Confrontational communication. Okay, come, let's sit and have an argument, face to face, eyeball to eyeball, that kind of a attitude. Overall pattern of the Pitta in the second house is strong hunger, inflammatory oral issues, speaking physically, sharp speech, intense money drive because it is second house matters. Security becomes competitive and achievement oriented. So it's a very performative kind of thing. There's a lot of heat. Can also lead to inflammation of those parts, what we have listed over there. Throat, mouth, ears. A lot of inflammatory kind of issues because Pitta tends to over-inflame when internalized in the body. Please keep that in mind. Now let's see the Kapha parts. So those are the Pitta culprits, Mars and Sun. They increase the heat. They are dry heat, both of them. act in different ways. We already saw that in previous ones. So second house, face, facial features, all the things are marked. What happens when Pitta increases here? Pitta energy is basically hot, sharp, penetrating, and intense. It's the combusting force. It's the force, calorific force in the human body which creates matter into energy. So Mars and Sun both are required, but they have to be in balance. When Pitta rises in the second house, heat affects speech, digestion, entry, and wealth psychology. First, let's see the physical expression of this. It may lead to mouth ulcers, especially if Mars and Sun are placed here, for example. Mouth ulcers more frequently. It may lead to burning sensation in the tongue, acid reflux starting in the throat, sour taste in the mouth, bleeding gums, inflamed gums, strong hunger, irritation if meals are delayed. See how it shows up everywhere. This is what makes Vedic astrology very holistic, folks. It is everything integrated with mind body. It's not just a chart for prediction, okay? There can be a resulting sharp jaw tension, voice becomes sharp or cutting, facial redness, heat shows up in the oral cavity. The second house aspects, yes? What about mental, emotional now? Mentally speaking, might lead to sharp financial intelligence, Mars in the second house, or Sun in the second house, or conjoined. Strategic wealth planning, strong memory, argumentative type of speech, critical tone of speech, especially if Sun is there. Wherever Sun is placed, here's a secret for you guys. Wherever Sun is placed in your house, you are critical about that house function. If Sun is placed in the sixth house, you are critical about your daily routines, for example. You see, Sun is also criticism. On the negative side, verbal dominance. They want to dominate the conversation, especially if Sun and Mars are there. Precision in language, intolerance towards incompetence. Both Sun and Mars have very low tolerance levels. Tolerance comes more with Saturn because it is slow and deliberate. Mind becomes analytical about resources. Emotional expression may show up as anger over money disputes, control over family finances, irritation towards family members. Second house is your family members. Mars in the second house can have constant arguments and disputes with family members. Competitive financial mindset. Competition once again is Sun also, but more so Mars. Pride in earning, Sun. Security becomes tied to performance. Yes. So the overall behavioral pattern when Pitta increases in the second house will be aggressive investing kind of mentality. Risk taking is very high in money matters. Overworking for wealth. Eating spicy hot foods. Now Mars in second house loves all kinds of pickles, all kinds of spicy food. Sun will love all kinds of bitter stuff. Confrontational communication. Okay, come, let's sit and have an argument, face to face, eyeball to eyeball, that kind of a attitude. Overall pattern of the Pitta in the second house is strong hunger, inflammatory oral issues, speaking physically, sharp speech, intense money drive because it is second house matters. Security becomes competitive and achievement oriented. So it's a very performative kind of thing. There's a lot of heat. Can also lead to inflammation of those parts, what we have listed over there. Throat, mouth, ears. A lot of inflammatory kind of issues because Pitta tends to over-inflame when internalized in the body. Please keep that in mind. Now let's see the Kapha parts. So when we start speaking of Kapha, what are we talking about? Increase of Kapha in the second house. So basically Jupiter, Moon or Venus or any of the conjoints placed in the second house will lead to increase of Kapha. What is Kapha? Kapha is heavy, moist, stable, slow and a cohesive kind of prana energy. When Kapha rises in the second house, accumulation affects food, speech and wealth. The second house matters and all those organs above which we just spoke of. Physical expression, therefore, might show up as excessive salivation, thick coating on tongue, slow digestion, overeating, definitely overeating. If Jupiter is in second, Or if Moon and Jupiter together or conjoined or Moon in second, overeating, very fond of eating. Craving sweets, especially if Jupiter is there. Weight gain issues, puffy face, Jupiter expands wherever it sits in. A thick voice, for example, especially if Jupiter is there. Slow speech, mucus issues in the throat. Sinus related throat congestion, because sinus is in the face, isn't it? The nasal sinus. Nourishment becomes excessive. Now, this is always there in anything which we do, isn't it? Excessive leads to some other kind of issues. What about mental expression and emotional ones? Mentally speaking, they have a strong long term memory because it has slowed things down now. They have stable financial habits, conservative money management, slow but steady planning, resistance to change in financial strategy, thoughtful speech. Mind becomes stable but rigid. Rigidity will come in wherever Jupiter sits in, typically. What about the emotional expression now? Emotionally, they might have attachment to family traditions, possessiveness about wealth, difficulty in letting go of objects, emotional kind of eating, avoiding financial risk, silent withdrawal during conflict. Jupiter is not an aggressive planet, neither is Moon or Venus. So whenever you have fights, you need Mars or Sun. When Kapha dominates, that means you must see that they are not aggressive people either. They're very tender, very soft. They avoid all kinds of fights, avoidance, silent withdrawal during conflict. Conflict is you need Mars there. You need a warrior. Security becomes attachment based. So let's see overall how this played out now. Okay, all three put together. Behavioral pattern: hoarding money, hoarding possessions, saving excessively, eating large quantities of food, comfort eating. You know, the ones where something has gone wrong and now they want to eat their face off. That's comfort eating. That's Jupiter, Moon, Venus. Something is going on in the second house. Overall pattern of Kapha in the second house is heavy digestion, slow speech, accumulation of wealth, attachment to family resources. That's Kapha. Increase in the second house. Next, I shall take up. I shall see you in the third house aspects. Take care. Be safe.